Jai Hind everyone. In this lecture of the subject Energy Science and Engineering KOE 033, I am going to discuss about the energy conservation and energy management, and somewhat about the energy auditing. So starting with the energy efficiency, let us first try to understand what is energy efficiency, what is energy conservation, what is energy management, and why auditing of energy is required. So let us start with a very simple example to understand the energy efficiency. Energy efficiency is actually using technology that requires lesser energy to perform the same function. Using an LED light bulb, light emitting diode light bulb, or a compact fluorescent tube, that is CFL lamp, that requires lesser energy as compared to a similar power output, similar rating, similar illumination output incandescent light bulb to produce the same amount of light, is actually an example of energy efficiency. Let us elaborate the same. The energy efficiency simply means using lesser amount of energy to perform the same task, as I have just quoted over the previous slide. That is eliminating the energy wastage. So we know that efficiency is output upon input, and the difference between the two is of the losses only. Lesser the amount of losses, higher would be the efficiency. So eliminating the energy wastage will result in an improved energy efficiency definitely. The energy efficiency brings a variety of benefits. For example, reducing the greenhouse gas emissions, reducing the demand for energy imports, and lowering our cost on household and economy-wide level. While renewable energy technologies also help accomplish these objectives, improving energy efficiency is actually the cheapest and often the most immediate way to reduce the use of fossil fuels. There are enormous opportunities for efficiency improvement, for energy efficiency improvement in every sector of economy, whether it is about the buildings, it is about the transportation, it is about the industry manufacturing units, or about the energy generation. What is energy conservation? We all know that energy conservation is any behavior that results in the use of less energy. Turning the lights off when leaving the room and recycling aluminum cans, both are actually the ways of conserving the energy. The energy conservation is a decision and practice of using lesser amount of energy. So energy conservation is actually a practice of using the lesser amount of energy. Turning off the lights when you leave the room, unplugging appliances when they are not in use, and walking instead of driving, they all are actually the examples of energy conservation. The two main reasons people choose to conserve the energy are to gain more control over their energy bills and reduce the demand on Earth's natural resources. Sometimes people confuse energy efficiency with energy conservation. So let us just differentiate, let us just see what is the difference between the two. When someone follows the advice on a sign that says be energy efficient, use stairs instead of elevator, are they increasing energy efficiency? No, not at all. The elevator will operate less often, but it will still use the same amount of electricity when it does operate, right? So using these stairs instead of an elevator is actually energy conservation, not about improving the energy efficiency. Two or more people using the elevator at the same time is more efficient than just one person using the same. But here, this is actually the example of energy conservation, not of improving the energy efficiency. We know that energy demand is increasing worldwide. The energy market situation is heating up and energy prices are on the rise, right? Instabilities in many exporting and transit countries are a cause for concern, and the increased combustion of fossil energy sources is accelerating the climate change. We need to see all these. An expansion of energy supply options is costly and it will definitely take time. On the other hand, what can be done is increasing energy efficiency actually is going to curb the energy prices, right? It reduces the dependency on energy imports, counteracts energy distribution conflicts, and cuts climate damaging carbon dioxide emissions. Simply, if we are going for improving the energy efficiency of our system, we use energy to achieve a specific benefit. Energy efficiency is a means of measuring the energy expenditure required to achieve a certain benefit. The lower the losses in the energy to achieve a specific purpose or task or benefit, the higher is going to be the degree of energy efficiency. Now let us talk about the energy management. What is energy management? How to manage the consumption of energy, how to manage the energy itself. So energy management is a judicious and effective use of energy to maximize the profits. Maximizing profits means minimizing the costs and to enhance the competitive positions. A successful energy management program is more than conservation only. It is a total program that involves in every area of a business. So energy management program is actually not the conservation of energy. Energy conservation may be a small part, a fraction of the energy management program. A comprehensive energy management program is not purely technical as well. It takes into account the planning and communication as well as salesmanship and the marketing. It actually affects the bottom line profits of every business. Thus, the individual who is assigned the role of energy management is said to be the energy manager. The energy manager has high visibility within the organization. We'll see the organizational structure as well. We'll see the position of energy manager. We'll also see the task to be performed, the responsibilities to be handled by the energy manager. Let us start with the energy planning. For energy management, let us see what planning needs to be done, right? The functions of energy planning are to provide direction. What kind of direction? To provide direction following which we are going to implement the energy management program. To provide opportunity to analyze alternative courses of action. To reduce the uncertainties. To minimize impulsive and arbitrary decisions as well. To kingpin function of energy management, the resource allocation, resource use efficiency, and the adaptive responses. They all comes when we plan for an energy management program. All the manufacturing operations and support services require energy as a major input. We know that well. All the manufacturing operations, let us talk about any kind of operation. All the operations actually require, all the operations as well as the support services actually require energy as the major input. So, whenever energy is consumed, energy management professionals can contribute value by working out methodologies or procedures to save some energy. Here comes the role of the energy manager. The profile of energy manager is now very well defined and it actually covers specific functional areas. What are those specific functional areas? They are the energy auditing, the facility or building management. If we are talking about the energy management of a particular building, then it is the building management, or in general the facility management when we are talking about any entity. the economic analysis, and the maintenance. They all are the well-defined functions of an energy manager. Objectives of energy management. The objectives of energy management shall be to reduce energy consumption as well as to look for alternative sources of energy which are cheaper so as to minimize the total cost of energy consumption, right? This may be done by several methods. Some of those methods are listed over here. For example, switching from use of electricity to use of gas whenever possible, we can do so. Using cogeneration to generate in-house electricity. Adopting new technologies to reduce the energy consumption. Adopting new technologies means to buy new electrical appliances which are energy efficient. Adopting alternative technologies to use cheaper sources of energy. These are the objectives of energy management, some of the objectives of energy management. Now, why do we need the energy management program? What is the requirement of going for the energy management program? So, let us see what are the points which we need to consider to understand the need of energy management program. The direct economic return. One of the objectives of energy management program is to reduce expenditure on energy. Every energy management program is expected to result in a cost saving of 10% to 50% depending upon what methodology is used for how much energy management is being permitted for some energy management program, right? We'll go for details of the same in later slides. Energy efficient product services give an competitive edge. Due to rising energy costs, it is established fact that everyone wants to reduce the cost of energy usage, right? Let it be a car or refrigerator or the air conditioner or even mobile phones. Economic analysis of the value of any product or service is evaluated based upon the life cycle of the same. Need for continuous evaluation and update. The economic evaluation of energy consuming equipments needs to be carried out periodically. This is something which is very much required. The economic evaluation of energy consuming equipment needs to be carried out periodically, right? When a new technology, product or service is released in the market, we must carry out the economic analysis for replacement of similar product or services which are in use. Contingency plan for temporary shortage or outage and strategic plan for the long-term solution. In case of any shortage or outage of energy source, the production operations are severely affected or may come to a halt as well, right? So, contingency plan must be ready. The contingency plan such as a diesel generator or gas turbine generator is essential for electrical power shortage or the outage. Likewise, for shortage of coal, gas or fuel oil, maintaining the feedstock for 3 to 4 days at least is essential. It is not desirable to have such shortages or outages on a regular basis. In case of frequent outages of energy source, it is desirable to have a permanent solution with an alternative energy supply source. In case if these outages are happening frequently, then the energy manager must think of some permanent solution for the energy supply, for an alternative energy supply. Price shocks. Due to the fluctuating energy prices, for example, the price of fuel oil, the production operation shall be costlier and they may become unviable for commercial operations. Hence, it is desirable to have alternative technologies to switch over to alternative source which may be comparatively cheaper in case of a price shock. They all are the points which needs to be considered for following an energy management program. They all are the tasks of the energy manager. Now, setting up the energy management plan. The first step for setting up an energy management plan is to create an organization structure to implement the program. The organization structure will be shown on the next slide. Let me just change it. This is the organization structure. What you can see is the topmost position is held by BOG, that is Board of Governors. Then we have got Chief Executive Officers. Under the CEO comes the Vice Presidents. Definitely the Vice Presidents would be department wise. So, let us just talk about the Energy Management Department. So, under the Vice President actually comes the Energy Manager. You can see the position of our Energy Manager in the organization structure of a company or some entity. Under the Energy Manager comes all the departments for energy management. An energy manager is going to have the department coordinators for every department for implementation of the energy management program. Under the department coordinators comes the employees, right? Now let us see at various levels what needs to be done. What you can see over here, policy making is at this level. This is the level of BOG and the CEO. Their task is to frame the policies. Then comes the VP level, Vice Presidents. They are there for strategic planning of certain procedures. Then comes the Energy Manager. The function, the purpose of having an energy manager is to implement the energy management program. The energy management program, a vital part of the energy management program is energy audit. So, the energy manager is responsible, energy manager who is responsible for implementation of the entire energy management program. One of the main functions of the manager is to plan and implement the energy audit plan, right? Then departmental coordinators are trained to carry out the task and reporting is done by the employees after carrying out the task or whatsoever it is. The steps in preparation of the following documents at appropriate levels. At appropriate levels, these are the documents and the tasks, documentation and the tasks to be performed. Policy. The energy policy of the organization has to be prepared by Vice President handling Energy Management Department and is to be approved by Board of Governors. The policy document should have broad objectives of using specific energy sources and future directions of energy usage and conservation. Then comes the energy audit plan. Energy audit plan needs to be, as we are concerned only about these plans, which are only about the plans which are associated with the energy management. So, we are talking in context with the same only. So, the policy making, after policy making comes the energy audit plan. The audit plan must be prepared at the middle level, that is by the energy manager. As per the law, it is mandatory for any organization having a maximum demand of 500 kilowatt or connected load of more than 600 kVA to get the annual energy consumption audited by a certain energy auditor. This is as per the law. This mandate is as per the law. So, any organization having maximum demand of more than 500 kilowatt or connected load of more than 600 kVA to get the annual energy consumption audited by a certain energy auditor, right? Then comes the energy management training, something which is very much important for successful energy management program. To implement the energy policies and the plans, it is essential for all the employees of the organization to get trained on energy management, right? For a successful energy management program, it is essential that every employee participates in saving the energy and in improving the energy efficiency of the system. The energy reporting and monitoring system. Energy can be saved only when it is known that how much units of energy is being used for each and every operation. A detailed energy consumption reporting and monitoring system must be designed by the energy manager and approved by the vice president of the organization who is responsible for implementation of the energy management program. Now, it is something interesting to know about the present job titles which are presently in use for energy managers. For example, the plant energy manager, the utility energy manager, state agency energy analyst, consulting energy manager, demand side management auditor or the manager, building/facility energy manager, utility energy analyst, central energy analyst, consulting energy engineer. So, these are some of the titles which are presently in use for energy managers at various places and organizations. Now, after energy conservation and energy management, let us talk about the energy audit. The energy audit is an integral part of implementing the energy management program. So, saving money on energy bills is attractive to business, to industries as well as for individuals like us. The customers whose energy bills use up a large part of their income, and especially those customers whose energy bills represent a substantial fraction of their company's operating costs, actually have a strong motivation to initiate and to continue an ongoing energy cost control program. For all of us, a saving in the energy bill is attractive. The customers for whom the energy bills are actually a large part of their operating cost have a strong motivation to go for the energy cost control program. No cost or very low cost operational changes. I said the no cost operational changes or very low cost operational changes can often save a customer or an industry approximately 10 to 20% on the utility bills. That 10 to 20% itself is a big amount when the implementation cost is very, very low. The capital cost programs with payback times of 2 years or less can often save an additional of 20 to 30%. So, with no or little investment, the bills 10 to 20% of utility bills, 10 to 20% amount of the utility bills can be saved. With certain more investment having almost maximum 2-year payback period, the amount in the bill that can be saved is 20 to 30% with implementation of the energy management program. In many cases, these energy cost control programs will also result in both reduced energy consumption and reduced emissions of environment pollutants. The energy audit is one of the first tasks to be performed in the accomplishment of an effective energy cost control program. So, the very first task of an effective energy cost control program is to perform an energy audit. An energy audit actually consists of a detailed examination of how a facility uses energy, what the facility pays for that energy, and finally to recommend a program for changes in their operating practices or energy consumption pattern. Let us see what are the basic components of an energy audit. This audit description primarily addresses the steps in an industrial or large-scale commercial audit, and not all the procedures described here are required for every kind of audit, right? The audit process starts by collecting information about a facility's operation and about its past record of utility bills, right? For any facility for which we are going to implement the energy management program, the audit process actually starts by collecting the information about the facility's operation and about its past record of the utility bills. This data is then analyzed to get a picture of how the facility uses and possibly actually wastes the energy, as well as to help the auditor to learn what are the various areas which needs to be examined to reduce the energy costs, right? Specific changes which are said to be the energy conservation opportunities, ECOs, are identified and evaluated to determine their benefits and their cost effectiveness. These ECOs are assessed in terms of their costs and benefits, and an economic comparison is made to rank the various ECOs. So, these specific changes are identified in terms of energy conservation opportunities. Finally, an action plan is created where certain ECOs are selected for implementation, and the actual process of saving energy and saving money begins. The basic components of an energy audit program are mentioned over here. The basic components are auditor's toolbox, preparing for audit visits, safety consideration, conducting an audit visit, pre-audit analysis, energy audit report, the energy action plan, etc. It ends at the energy action plan with suggestion for implementation for energy improvement program. Auditor's toolbox actually contains tools for measuring various parameters at the facility to know the consumption of energy and for possibility of an enhancement in energy usage. For example, if waste heat recovery is being considered, then the auditor must take substantial temperature measurement data from the potential heat sources. If the auditor is responsible to look into the waste heat recovery program. The commonly needed tools which are commonly needed for energy audit are tape measures, light meters, voltmeters, infrared cameras, voltmeters. This is a repetition. Clamp-on ammeters, watt meters and power factor meters, combustion analyzer, smoke generator, miniature data loggers, and the vibration analysis gears. They are some of the commonly used tools during energy audit. Preparing for the audit visit. So, some preliminary work must be done before the auditor makes the actual energy audit visit to a facility. Data should be collected on the facility's use of energy through examination of utility bills, and some preliminary information should be compiled based upon the physical description and operation of the facility. This data should then be analyzed so that the auditor can do most complete job of identifying the ECOs during the actual site visit. Energy use data and physical operation data of the facility must be known to the auditor prior to the visit of the facility, right? So, energy use data, what comes in the energy use data is, energy auditor should start by collecting data on energy use, the power demand, the cost for at least previous 12 months. 24 months of data might be necessary to adequately understand the bill and adequately understand the pattern of the energy consumption. Physical and operational data for the facility. The physical and operational data for the facility actually contains the geographic location as well as the weather data, which is going to affect the energy consumption of the facility, the layout of the facility, the operating hours of the facility, and the equipment list of the facility. Geographic location and weather data. Geographic location of the facility should be noted together with the weather data for that location. For this, the local weather station can be contacted. Then facility layout. The next, the facility layout or plan should be obtained and it must be reviewed to determine the facility size, the floor plan, the construction features such as what kind of walls and roof materials, what are the insulation levels of the walls and the roofs, etc. The windows and door sizes, etc. A set of building plans could supply this information in sufficient detail. Operating hours. The operating hours of the facility should also be obtained. Is there only a single shift, or the facility is working on 2 shifts or 3 shifts, etc. Knowing the operating hours in advance actually allows determination as to whether some loads could be shifted to off-peak times or not. Then the equipment list. Finally, the auditor should get an equipment list for the facility, the entire equipment list for the facility, and the auditor must review it before conducting the audit. All large pieces of energy consuming equipment such as heaters, the air conditioners, water heaters, and the specific process related equipment should be identified prior to the visit of the facility. Then safety considerations. Safety is a critical part of every energy audit. The audit person or team should be thoroughly briefed on safety equipment and procedures and should never place themselves in a position where they could injure themselves or other people at the facility. So, adequate safety equipment should be worn at all appropriate times in the facilities where they are required. Auditors should be extremely careful while making any measurements on the electrical system or on high temperature devices such as boilers, heaters, cookers, etc. Electrical gloves or asbestos gloves should be worn. So, safety considerations are something which one should not avoid while doing an audit at the facility. So, that was all about the energy conservation, management and audit in brief.